ho, ho! Oh, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Santa Claus is going to see who was the good boys and girls who made the playoffs. Got a nice stocking like this, huh? We're going to see who made the playoffs. Oh, 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 oh! And who didn't. The bad boys and girls. Guys, before I start the episode, I just really want to thank Santa Claus for being a guest just to kick off our show, to recap the regular season, to start the playoffs. Santa Claus had a big, very busy schedule, especially with the snowstorm too. So he's been having to try to shuffle things around. So I'm glad he's able to fit this in. Shout out to Santa. He's a day one. But yeah, the playoffs start this week for the Famleegue. The second annual playoffs. There's no way that in the history of our league we'll have a historic finish as we did to end the 2022 regular season. There is no way that another season will top this. 3 teams are already in. 8 teams awaiting their destiny to the very final week. And let's see who are the good girls and the good boys and the ones that just fell a little short. So we're going to start off with probably the most enticing matchup of them all. The only two 7-7 teams facing off against each other. Hurt So Good and In It to Win It. Now, Hurt So Good been have a lot of the injuries, really putting the hurts to the name, but then ending the season with the good part of his name as our leading scorer all year has been just on a rampage, scoring a lot of points. And In It to Win It, he had a slow start to the season, went on a nice little winning streak, and has kind of won some and lost some, kind of seesawing it to end the season. Who will get the last laugh and punch their ticket as a for sure playoff spot? Heart So Good, baby. Keeps that rampage of scoring going. He scores 178. 178 to 109. Keeps the rampage going. Jalen Hurts, Zay Jones, 34 combined points. Finally starts Zay Jones after Zay Jones kind of a little hit or miss, but the times where he's hit, unfortunately he's had him bench. I guess I'm going to be battling the light again. Thought I was in a good spot, but it looks like it's getting darker and brighter, but we're just going to have to deal with it. Latavius Murray and Saquon Barkley. I don't know about this light. I might have to sit somewhere different. They combined for 44.2 points. So, yeah, 178 to end the season for sure. Ticket punch for the playoffs. It was the highest scored points this week. And he ended the season as our top scorer, of course. As for Randy, he's going to need the other 7-7 teams to lose so that he can slide in. So, did that happen? Did any of the other 7-7 teams lose so he could slide in? We're going to go next to your boy, the commish of the Famleegue, CDs against Team Horned. So the last matchup was a 4-5 ranked teams in week 15, and I was ranked 6th going up against the 1 seed. It's a very tough battle for me, and unfortunately I end up losing to the second time this season against Team Horn as she extends her winning streak to 6 games, the highest winning streak out of anyone in the Famleegue this year. She wins 130 to 115. This is a really bad loss for me because Randy has me over the head-to-head tiebreaker and also scored more points than me. So he is in above me. So I basically need some other 7-7 teams to lose so that maybe I can slide in. As for Team Horn, like I said, she's won 6 straight. It's the most wins out of any team this season. Going into the playoffs, scorching. Kirk Cousins, they were down like 33-0 at halftime. He only had like 1 point, like 3-2 or something. I'm like, let's go, baby. This is exactly what I need. And then, of course, the Vikings come back and win. Scored like 36, or like 30 unanswered or something. And He ends up throwing for just shy of 500 yards. He scores 32 fantasy points for. I'm like, you could be kidding me. And just a little tidbit for me. I was going to start Marlon Mack, and then I picked up Chuba Hubbard because they've been, him and Foreman have been like both like kind of splitting carries, and both have been doing pretty good running the game for the Panthers. And then of course their run game was non-existent against the Steelers. The Panthers always lose games they should win, and win games they're probably going to lose, but whatever. Was going to start Marlon Mack. He ends up scoring just shy of 17 points. And I was going to start Devontae Smith as well. And if I would have started them two over Hubbard and Christian Watson, then I would have beaten Kendra by like a decimal point. But unfortunately, I needed 24 from Watson to get in. And unfortunately, only got me 8 points. So did I slide in? Did I slide in? Let's see how these other 7-7 teams did. We're going to move down to me and my homies, who was one of the 3 teams that already had a playoff spot, against It's Miller Time. Technically, it's Lee time, but we're just going to finish season with It's Miller Time. She was a 7-7 team. Could she punch her ticket? She sure could. Cheers, it is Miller Time. Miller Time is going to extend into the postseason. She wins 136 to 114. Can I get a booyah? I don't know if y'all can hear that in the video, but yeah, she wins 136 to 114. So she is in the playoffs. She had 4 players score over 20 points. She did have 83 points on the bench as well. As for me and my homies, I'm glad she made an appearance. I'm like, oh, she could just sit right beside me and do the video, but she she gotta watch out for our baby. I don't know if you can hear her bark, but I don't like to be alone a lot, so. Yeah, but as for me and my homies, he goes to 8-7. And by him being 8-7, he might slide a little bit in the rankings. There might be, like, for instance, Bryce will jump ahead of him because Bryce has scored more points than me and my homies. So, me and my homies slide a little bit for the final standings. The next 7-7 team we will go after is Just Joshua against Slim Pickens. And Slim Pickens, I was checking her team. She was eliminated a couple weeks ago. I'm like, well, let me just see if she set her lineup to maybe play a spoiler. And she sure did. She had some questionables and outs, and she replaced them. So she tried to play spoiler, but it was not enough to spoil Just Joshua's chances for the playoffs. Just Joshua punching his ticket as well. He is in the playoffs, wins 134 to 105. Dalvin Cook, part of that big comeback. He had a huge run. Got him 27 total points. So yes, Just Joshua. It's Miller time. Hurt so good. The 7-7 teams so far that have won to go 8-7, they all have reserved their place in the playoffs. So right now we have 6 teams. We have 6 teams in the playoffs right now. So that kind of leaves Tua at the 7 seed and me at the 8 seed. Will it stay that way? Will it stay that way? Very interesting matchup here. We have the 9 seed after week 14. Amendola Oblongata, the last 7-7 team, the only 7-7 team not in the playoff window at the start of week 15. Again, show me your TDs. Very crazy story. Show me your TDs. Kind of been out of it all year. A little passing bystander there. And he's gotten kind of hot to end the season. He's 6-8. So if he wins this game, he could be 7-8 and possibly kick me or Randy out. So would he do that? You know, a couple weeks ago I said Graham Gano, and history repeats itself, but not this time. Graham yes. He was down by 11 points. And the last player left for either team was Graham Gano for Show Me Your TDs. Down by 11 points. What does Graham Gano do? He kicks his way into the playoffs. Gets 12 points. 12 points. So, Show Me Your TDs, 7-8, gets his win. And will he kick out either me or Randy? We got one more matchup. And I'll tell you what happens. The last matchup, in a similar chair as Show Me Your TDs, is the Scranton Stranglers, also 6-8. Kind of caught fire at the end of the season. Needs a win to go 7-8 to make it interesting. Maybe he could slide in. Goes against Team Hill, the 2 seed. 11/2 upsets. March Madness, baby. He wins 130 to 111. Team Hill is going to keep his second place spot because Mahomes lost. So Team Hill is still in second. So the Scranton Stranglers had to win to keep any sort of postseason hopes alive. But unfortunately for him, not enough 7-7 teams lost. And plus he was kind of lower on the points scored ladder. So he unfortunately misses out on the playoffs. And what happened? What happened to Show Me Your TDs, In It to Win It, and CDs? Well, Show Me Your TDs is one of the leading scorers. I think he's third. I didn't write it down, but I'll have to screenshot later. And In It to Win It, I think, was like just underneath him. So those two claimed the last 2 spots, literally kicking the commissioner out. Because if Graham Gano got 11 or 10 points, Jay would have not made it. Show Me Your TDs would have been eliminated. He would have lost to Amendola Oblongata, who would have moved to 8-7. And Amendola Oblongata, I was thinking the whole time I would have gotten it, but then he would have been 8-7, and I would have been 7-8. So really, this game right here was the deciding factor. Wow. So, huge matchup there. Show Me Your TDs. What an incredible run. What an incredible run. And we'll just kind of go over these playoff teams. I'll go ahead and put up the playoff bracket. So, I know there was some discrepancy because I figured I put in the system. I put in our league that head-to-head would outweigh points scored. But when I talked to the guy on the phone that one day, then he said it was points scored, and then I said that I can probably alter it to change the standings to where it was a head-to-head base. But I know I put in a poll, but after consideration, I think the way ESPN did it was mathematically more correct. Like, I mean, they have like a system to where they could do it correctly and kind of more accurate, because it is kind of somewhat of like a headache. With all these like same records. So the points scored ended up showing some more weight. But it still is a little confusing. Like just Joshua, I guess they counted some of his head-to-heads because he had the lowest points scored in the entire league, but somehow he got the 5th seed. But I'm just going to keep it as it is. So we're just going to have ESPN kind of like do their thing. So the bracket, we have the 1 seed Team Horn going up against In It to Win It, the defending champion. Can he claim his title as the 8 seed? I think it was the 1 seed last year, I'm pretty sure. And then down at the bottom, we have the 2 seed and the 7 seed Team Hill against Show Me Your TDs. And then we have the 3 seed Hurt So Good against It's Miller Time. And then the 4 and 5 seed, me and my homies against Just Joshua. Now, how did these teams make the playoffs? We'll start off with the 1 seed. Team Horn, her very first season ever playing fantasy football. She started the season off 4-0. Then she lost 3 straight, make her 4-3. But then she ended the season with a 6-game winning streak. Locks up that 1 seed a couple weeks ago. She drafted very well. She drafted Nick Chubb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Olave, and Evan Ingram, who has just been a huge plus to her tight end game. He has been incredible the past several weeks, closing out the fantasy football season. So she's going into the playoffs very hot, scorching. The 2 seed Team Hill. He had a pretty good team at the draft. However, he was one of 3 teams, really one of 4 teams that only had a couple starters left, or only had a couple players left that they had drafted by the end of the season. The only players that he had drafted that he still has on his team now is Trevor Lawrence, Michael Carter, Stephon Diggs, and the Bills defense. Only 4 players that he drafted are still on his team here to start the playoffs. That's pretty wild. He made some really good trades. He got Christian McCaffrey, Jalen Waddle, and Mark Andrews. And then he also got Rashad White and Mecole Hardman on the waiver wire. Helped him win a couple games in a couple weeks. He started off 5-1, then went to 7-2, but he's ended the season 2-4. His last 6 games, he's only won 2, lost 4. So, started the season hot, got a little cold, but maybe he can heat things back up for the playoffs. We're going to go to our 3 seed, Hurt So Good. Very intriguing team. What a roller coaster year for Hurt So Good. He's been our top scorer all year. Looking like probably the better team for most of the season until the injury bug stung him very badly. One week he loses Breece Hall. Next week he loses Cooper Kupp and Dallas Goedert. And now, unfortunately, he's going week 1 of the playoffs without Jalen Hurts, who's been the top fantasy scorer the entire year. Jalen Hurts scored the most points in our Famleegue and a fantasy football PPR. And he goes into the first week of playoffs with Jalen Hurts out. We'll get to how he's managing that after we go over these teams.
Not very good.
So, and he started off 3-1 in the season. And then the injury bug hit him. He lost 4 in a row, going 3-4. Then he won 2 in a row, going 4-5. Then he lost 3 in a row, going 5-7. So he's riding that seesaw all year. Then he won 3 straight to claim his place in the playoffs. She's at breakfast. Yeah. Maya's had breakfast confirmed. Next team, the 4 seed, Mia Mahomes. He started off 1-3. Then he won the next 5 of 6. So it was like Bryce is looking like the best team. Then Mia Mahomes just had this like resurgence. And he kind of rode that wave for most of the year. He ended up finishing the season winning 4 of his last 7 games. He drafted very well. He drafted Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Travis Etienne had a slow start, but then he became the RB1 for Jacksonville. Jamar Chase, he got hurt, but he's come back pretty solid. He started off the season pretty hot, too. Dalton Schultz had a nice second half. Drafted him. Dallas' defensive special teams. And also Daniel Carlson, the kicker from Las Vegas, who actually has scored the most points out of any kicker. And then through waiver wire and trades, he got Keenan Allen, Ramondre Stevenson, who's been a solid RB for him this year. And I think it's Isaac or Isaiah Pacheco. I think it's Isaac. No, I think it's Isaiah. So he's made some good moves, made good drafts. So and the 5 seed, another very interesting, intriguing team, just Josh Allen, the lowest scorer for most of the season. Actually, the difference between our highest score and our lowest score is about a difference of 400 points. So Hurt So Good, our leading scorer, has scored 400 more points than our lowest scorer, just Josh Allen, and they end the season with the same record. And Hurt So Good is only 2 seeds higher than him. Fantasy football is just such a train wreck, and it's just you just never know how it's going to be every year. It would be something if just Josh Allen, the lowest points scored all year, wins the Famleegue this year. That would be one of the craziest, if not the craziest, like instance for fantasy football. So I'm kind of rooting for the underdog. I'm outside the window, obviously rooting for my wife, but you know that would just be very, very awesome to see. Just because you just never know. He had a pretty decent draft. Drafted Terry McLaurin, Dalvin Cook, Juju Smith-Schuster. Unfortunately, he did draft Russell Wilson, but he picked up Dak Prescott in a trade. Had to give up a pretty solid. I think he gave up like 2 wide receivers or two decent players for Dak Prescott, but then one of those players ended up getting hurt, so ended up working out pretty well for him. He started off the season 2-4. But then he had that impressive 5-game winning streak that really propelled him to get to where he is now. The 6th seed, it's Miller time.
Woo! Woo!
Started off the season 5-2. Looking pretty hot. Like she always says. Then she lost 4 straight. And she was kind of in limbo. Is she going to make playoffs or not? But she ended the season winning 3 of her last 4 games. And she could thank her core 4 of Joe Burrow, King Henry, Tyreek Hill, and T. Higgins as the core 4 kind of propelled her to a lot of her success this season. The 7th seed, show me your TDs. Show me your TDs. Start off the season 1-4. And then he went 2. Then he was 2-6 at one point in the season. And then he just had a super resurgence. He's had such a great lineup all year with Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, and Justin Jefferson. I don't know how we let him get Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson and Josh Allen. How do we let him get all those guys? Like, it's so crazy. So he finally starts playing like his team should. He wins 5 of his last 7 games to close out the season, and punches his ticket in the playoff on the very last week. And then last but not least, the 8th seed, our defending champion, in it to win it. Start off the season 1-4 is Turd Ferguson, and his quarterback was Matt Stafford, and Stafford really wasn't playing well. But then luckily Tua Tagovailoa, after his concussion, he started to play him a little bit more, and he's like, you know what, Tua's my guy. I'm gonna ride the whole season. I'm gonna even name my team after him. In it to win it, and he sure was in it to win it. He won 4 games in a row, kind of helped him get over that hump. So he was 5-4. But he has finished the season only winning 2 of his last 6 games. But I am sure the defending champion will kind of turn up the heaters again. Now it's the playoffs. He's been here before. He's got experience. The only players left on his team that he had day 1 of the season, he drafted Tua Tagovailoa, Tony Pollard, and Evan McPherson. They're the only 3 players that he has drafted that he still has on his team for the first week of the playoffs. Made a lot of great moves. He acquired Josh Jacobs, who's had a sensational fantasy year. Joe Mixon had that 50-point game, has been very solid all year. Got hurt a little bit, toward the end. But he picked up his backup, Samaje Perine, who has stepped right in his shoes. And he got George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk. So made some very solid additions there to get to where he is. And speaking of them, we'll go ahead and roll into our matchups. Now, I tried to get this done before Thursday games, and there's a surplus of games today. So I'm like, all right, it's 9:46 a.m. right now. So as I'm speaking, I have till about 1 o'clock to post this. So hopefully I can get this before kickoff. A lot of games today. 3 games Christmas Day, 1 game on Monday. So, in it to win it, the 8th seed, can he upset the 1 seed? Well, he's currently losing 18.3-0, and Kendra can thank Evan Ingram again as he is staying hot. That's why she has 18.3 because of Evan Ingram. It's projected in it to win by 3 still though. He's projected to win 121-118 despite Evan Ingram's solid performance. We're going to move to the 2 seed against the 7 seed, Team Hill against Show Me Your TDs. And Team Hill is winning 21.26-6. Show Me Your TDs projected to win though 121-118. Little deja vu, same numbers. All right. The next matchup, we have Hurt So Good, the 3 seed, against the 6 seed. It's Miller time, and Hurt So Good is currently winning 14.48-0. Now, Hurt So Good didn't have a backup quarterback. Jalen Hurts is out. So who does he pick up? He picks up Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. And Zach Wilson, once he came back from his injury with the Jets, had a winning record. I want to say he was something like 5-2 or something like that. But just offensively not really doing so good. Kind of just wait for him to have a game where he can just really break out. He lost the starting role to Mike White. Mike White got hurt. Shout out to breakfast. Oh! Look at this we got for breakfast. We got bacon, a hash brown, and what they call a dippy egg. So he picks up Zach Wilson to start, hoping that he finally has a breakout game. And unfortunately, he does not. I think Zach Wilson needs to score 2 points. Zach Wilson got taken out after halftime. They put in some undrafted guy that went to South Dakota. And he also had 3 other players start too. So he's only projected to get 70 points. That is just so tough. He's been our top scorer all year long. The injury bugs just hit him. And then unfortunately his guys on the Jets and the Jaguars just can't come through for him on the first week of the playoffs. He's projected 70. It's Miller time. It's projected 124. So this could be ugly. This could be ugly. And then last but not least, we have our 4 seed and 5 seed. It's me and my homies against just Josh and you. Me and my homies currently leads 27.2 to 0. And he's projected to win 134 to 119. Yum, yum, yum. That's all I got, guys. Hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy all the games today. It's been kind of cool. I like how they did the schedule. You know, a Thursday game, a bunch of Saturday games. Got like a 1 o'clock, 4:30, and 8:20 game tomorrow. And then they have a Monday night game. So it's like NFL games like everywhere. So I like how they did the NFL schedule. Yeah, but y'all be safe during this crazy winter storm. And good luck to each and every one of y'all. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast.
Hash brown I don't like. Oh.
I guess I'm not gonna enjoy the hash brown.